We will call the meeting to order. No? Yes, I do. And let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We have a guest list over here. Has anyone not signed the guest list? If you haven't, please do so. Thank you. All right, opening statement. The regular session of the Cascade School District Board of Directors will now convene in the district office boardroom and via Zoom. The laws governing boards of education require that their work be done where the public can observe their actions. Please remember that this is the board's meeting for the public to observe. Others may participate only with the board approval. Okay, moving on. We've got the approval of the minutes of the Jan 12, 26 executive session and regular meeting and minutes, and the February 3rd, 26 special session and executive session minutes.
I move to approve the January 12th, 2026 executive session and regular meeting and minutes, and February 3rd, 2026 special session and executive session minutes.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any discussion?
Nope.
Nope. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 3, prioritize the agenda. Mr. Drill.
I think we can go right down the list.
All right, first up, superintendent report. Mr. Drill, and
Good.
Before you start your report, Mr. Drill, I have
Yes.
a question.
Yes, sir.
And I think I forgot this last month. But we had been having a report yearly of the full-time equivalent to student ratio. And I
Yes.
thought that was reported every January to the board.
Well, I have it in here, the student classroom ratio.
How many students total versus
Right.
how many full-time equivalent? We've been doing that every year for the past maybe 3 years now, and I thought it was always on January that we got that report. And I think we forgot it in January.
Okay.
And I'd like to make that a annual report that we get every January automatically. Just
Okay.
seeing however many students there are that day by how many full-time staff we have on the payroll.
Right.
And I'd like to see, frankly, if we could get it for the last few years also, just for reference, so we could see how many did we have 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2, and now.
Okay. I
So if we could do
believe
it
we
as a
gave it to
rolling.
you. I believe we gave it to you last year.
In January.
Yeah, was
I
it
believe so.
January?
I believe it was January.
We'd have to check. I'm looking over at my right-hand person that can tell me
Right,
yes or
sure.
no, and she's, we have to check. And then we can do it for this year. It might be more difficult to go back in time, but we can pull some HR records and see.
Well, and I think we reported on it last January, so if nothing else, if we could just grab those numbers from last January, just as a, hey, here's what we looked at last January,
Yep.
here's this one, but it'd be really nice to see that every January and see maybe like a 5-year roll,
Right.
or make it into a 10-year, just so the board, we can all see, while we're gaining in students, how is that correlating to a gain in employment, or
Sure.
going down? Just,
Sure.
what is that number? Because I believe the ratio was 7.9 or 8.4 last year. It was one of those two.
Okay.
Meaning, for every employee, we had, I think it was 8.4 students.
We can do that.
I think.
We'll take a look. It's not, it won't be easy to, it will be easy to get.
Right, it's
So,
easy to
yeah.
figure out. But again, I think it's 7.9 or 8.4. It's one of those two.
And if I remember
numbers.
right, we had a little bit of conversation about, what does that really mean, right? Because, how does my one FTE truly affect what happens in the classroom?
I understand, but it's just a number. It's
Exactly.
just a number, and
Yeah.
I want to see that, and it'd be nice to see how that ebbs and flows a little bit
Okay.
as time goes on.
Okay.
But if we could make that a standard January
Can do.
item that we talk about every January.
Yep,
Awesome.
absolutely. Can do.
Now we're ready for your.
All right, got it. See, I got my questions before I even get started. That's good. That's good. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to February. I can't believe we are working our way through the winter season and getting ourselves closer and closer to spring. So hopefully next month we'll be able to smell some fresh cut grass and be out for spring sports and all that kind of craziness. So we'll get there. In my report, I have for you, again, we monitor how many kids are in each building. This is that time of year where I say to you, how are we doing as compared to a year ago in each building? So what Brett was asking for is just a little bit different. This is in each building. Right now, we are right around 30 more students this year than we were last year. And the bulk of those increases are at Almsville and the high school. So, and those, shift from year to year about where different buildings are higher or lower. We have shut off any additional interdistrict transfers. We still have some people on a waiting list, but they've been let known that they can go ahead and apply for next year. And we go through that process the same way every year. So we've been getting ready for that in the spring. I'm sure people are already starting to call for next year. We'll go through that process. As you're aware, the legislature is back in session. Probably the best news last week was that the February quarterly forecast came out. It was not a horrific forecast, slightly better, I think, than what most people had anticipated. Instead of the state being 700 million in the hole, they're only like 550 in the hole now. So that's what that really does for us, is that it says to school districts, you do not need to cut something this year, right now. So I think for most school districts that was helpful. Obviously, our budgets will be harder to figure out for 26, 27, and 27, 28, but that is helpful right now. We're always paying attention to what the legislature does. It's only 35 days, but I think I was told the other day that like 45 bills dealing with education have already popped up. That's always fun, so you never quite know exactly what comes out of that, but our lobbyists monitor that. They're tracking for us. So far, so good about, you worry about losing money, but you also worry that there might be a bill that gets passed that suddenly you have to do something, and it's an unfunded mandate. They didn't give or provide dollars to help us with that process. So doesn't mean they weren't good ideas. It just means, man, they didn't give us money to handle that. So we're hopeful that doesn't take place. And then finally, I would just like to say thank you. I said thank you to the administrators earlier today at our all admin meeting, but it is unusual to be gone for a couple of months, and things around here have been running really pretty well. So really appreciate that. People spend a lot of time working. Lots of people just do their job, get it done. They care about kids. They could care less whether or not the superintendent was around. What they really cared about was making sure that kids got what they needed to have happen. And that's our goal, right? That's our goal. So really want to say thank you to each and every person that works at Cascade, just putting their head down and getting things done. Any questions?
Any questions? So I did see on the news that Salem Kaiser was looking at their budget shortfalls. Was that before or after this latest economic
I
forecast
think
came
it's
out?
probably a little of both. I mean, I'm not going to give you a straight answer on that one because I'm sure that they had some plans. I got somebody sitting right here who probably knows more about it than I do. I got some plans, sorry, my friend. I know that there were plans to talk about how do you tighten budgets, particularly with what we see as forecasting coming, and I know
Right.
their superintendent is really good at taking a look at things like that, particularly for a district that size. That looks different than how we handle it. So they are talking about that when the outcome of February 4th came out, and maybe it didn't go as well as some people wanted. I'm sure that they had to reconfigure what that number is going to be. I believe that larger districts really have a harder time with that because larger districts means you live in a bigger metropolitan area and costs are more, costs are higher. And there's some higher expectations, particularly with their associations. So you watch them, you watch Portland, you watch Bend, you watch Hillsborough, even Medford's going through some issues at the moment. I just think that's one of those conversations that what we need to be able to have in our checkbooks to manage our economy personally is not what is matching with school districts, particularly when 70% of your funding comes from the state. The 30% that comes from the feds is shrunk. I mean, there's just less. One bit of good news was that at the federal level, they did pass a budget that allowed for title programs and other programs to be held flat funded. And that's better news than what we were told 3 or 4 months ago. So that's good news. But, good news of flat funding means that, if you provide anybody more money,
Right.
that means you have less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And 85% of our budget is in salaries and benefits.
Right. No, it just seems like it's not a good indicator when they're struggling
Right.
based on that. So
Right,
understood.
right.
Lastly, welcome back.
Thank you.
Very happy to have you back. I
Yeah.
know he's not here tonight, but I can't thank Mr. Weeks enough for what he did in the time you were out.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your cooperation and your willingness to help us get through this from, those are the cards we had to play. So I appreciate everything you did in that. in
Thank
your
you.
role.
It had to be done, and whether it's me or anybody else, that's what we had to do.
We have to do it, whether
Yep.
we like it or
I hear you.
not. So anyway,
Okay,
welcome
thank
back.
you.
Happy to have you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Wonderful. Anything else for Mr. Drill? No, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Drill. Next, we've got Director of Finance report. Mr. Wong, welcome.
Good evening. As of January 2026, the district's physical position remains stable and on track with our adopted budget. And our total revenue is at 70% of our budget, which is consistent with our historical patterns. And state revenue is performing slightly ahead of last year because we have a little growth in enrollment. And on the expenditure side, we've spent 44% of our total budget, which is slightly below last year's. January is about 46%. Salary and benefits costs are higher. It's expected and budgeted. So all the other spendings remain well controlled. Overall, there's no physical concerns, and the district remains in this fiscal year remains a very sound financial position. And you see all my charts and numbers in the bracket. Any questions?
They're looking.
No, I don't have any questions for you, unfortunately. But I do want to say thank you for what you do. And I love the graphs that you make. Those are fabulous. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate the financial data that you bring us and keep us informed of. Much appreciated. And as we continue into this uncharted territory with the budgets to come, that's going to be even more and more important as we go forward. So thank you for what you do.
Yes, sir. Thank
It's
you.
noticed and it's appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Director of Human Resources report. Mr. Weeks for Mr. Drill. Pardon,
Yeah.
Mr. Drill for Mr. Weeks.
So his report's there. I really felt like he, like you said earlier, had to do a couple of different jobs here the last couple of months. Jay and I were together talking on the phone on a regular basis. Appreciate that ability of you guys to allow that to happen. And I appreciate that an awful lot. Excuse me. He wanted to make sure that you were aware of people in this office, how hard they work to make sure it happened. Lisa Sherman, Jennifer, right here with you, Tamara Nixon, just picked up and handled so many different pieces of the process. And that has allowed Jay to still get out, talk with our administrators, talk with some staff. He's talking with our association presidents on a regular basis, trying to cut things off at the pass, anything that pops up. And did a lot of work here helping me out with regard to the calendar that you'll see a little later tonight for next year. So if you have any other questions, he said, please feel free to reach out to him. If you've got questions for me, I can take them back to him at this time.
I don't have a question, maybe more of a comment.
Yeah.
On his report, he talked about the maintenance department creating the work order system, and frankly,
Yeah.
that felt like it felt like a red light. It's a very proactive thing to do. I'm sure it was a bottleneck issue, but the fact that they're just saying, hey, there's got to be a better way, let's see if we can do it more efficiently, I think that's just fabulous.
Well,
I'm sure it'll change as we go through time, it'll
Yeah.
evolve.
I think it is better. Olin's here tonight, maybe he could say yes or no. But the reality of it is that between that and the fact we finally got around to getting these guys phones, that was probably a much better way for us to get some more instant responses and success to what's happening, so.
Would you agree?
I agree, it's been super helpful. There's tweaks that, suggestions that we're gonna bring to
Sure,
the camera.
work in progress.
Yeah, but it's nice, it keeps us organized and it also helps us be accountable, so, people-
Right, accountable and efficiency, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to see it.
Wonderful. But just seeing that was put in place, again, it just felt like it was a proactive move. I'm sure it was reactive because of everybody yelling, but the fact that it's being done is a good thing. Yeah, great. Well, suggested strongly. Good, thank you for that. Any questions for Mr. Drill? Nope, dynamite. Thank you, Mr. Drill.
Yep. Thanks, Olin.
We are on to Director of Special Services report. Ms. Johnson, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. I don't know, I got distracted by this in my face. Thank you guys for being here. You have my report in front of you. I want to give you the opportunity to ask questions, and then I want to highlight some of my team.
Mine's not opening.
You ready for questions now?
Go for it.
All right,
Mine isn't
I'm ready. I'll go first.
Okay.
So based on the math you showed us here, we've got 17% of our student body using special ed services, if you will. I know I've asked this before. What is the state average? What do we expect a school district to have in student body that uses those?
Yeah.
When you sit down and plan, what do you plan on? What number? And what should you plan on?
If you were to go back, so the Oregon Department of Education and IDEA and federal guidelines, they expect a school district to not go above 15% special education.
Okay.
That was the norm. However, that's not the norm any longer. So most of your school districts, their special education population is continuing to rise. Cascade's number has risen significantly, especially over the last 6 years. And a lot of that has to do with the way that we identify kids, the way that the parents are moving in specifically for special education programs. Yeah, we're about 17%, but we're actually starting to push more towards 18%, which is one of the reasons I want to highlight some of our classified staff today.
So even 17% though doesn't feel like that much of a stretch from the 15% that the state is looking for. So are other districts in the same boat as we are?
Yeah, you'll see. So I went and testified at the Capitol last year around increasing the cap for funding.
Right.
And when I was there, I sat and I listened to several other districts, whether they were teachers or parents that were there, talking about their districts were reaching anywhere between, the smaller districts were hitting 16%, 15%, and for those even smaller than us, that's a big lift.
Right.
All the way up to 19% special education, and they were the ones feeling it the most. And it doesn't feel like it's a big difference between 15% and 17%. If you were to ask our special education crew and the administrators in this room, you feel it.
Right.
Every single percentage can definitely make an impact.
Right, that's like 40 kids, 40, 50 kids, yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I started, we're pushing almost 100 kids more since 2020. I mean, we're a little less than 100, but we're pushing that.
And in your opinion, if we were to back up, say, 10 or 15 years ago, are there more kids primarily because of how we identify a child that needs these services, or are you saying that there's kids, that people are flat moving in that much? What's the biggest driver?
It's a combination. So a lot of the guidelines on how you can identify a student, they've changed. It's ebbed and flowed on, I wouldn't call it making it easier, it's clearly defining it, right? So
Right.
there's a piece of that. The other piece is our program, our school, when a school district's population grows, your dynamics, it's going to become more diverse. The needs are going to increase no matter how you slice it. And it just happens to be, we also have families that are specifically looking for our programs.
In your opinion, are those guidelines accurate on how we determine who falls within that category?
Absolutely. So one of the things that at all the buildings, whether it's an elementary or a high school, we have really specific guidelines and process to identify a student initially for special education. So we're putting in interventions, we're following a data cycle, we're meeting continuously because we don't want to over-identify. We're not just throwing labels on students, we're really working for the student, right? Like, let's find out what's going on and what else we can do.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That might be my only question.
Anybody else before I go on? You had asked the question about staffing for Mr. Drill when this first started. And that was interesting because I'm going to talk a little bit about special education. We have 466 students. Now, this is when I pulled it. We're probably now pushing 470 since I pulled this in special education. And some of those students do not require more than one adult. And some of those students require up to 3 adults.
For one student?
For
3
one
adults,
student.
At one time?
At one time.
Okay.
And sometimes 3 adults and an LPN. What I acknowledged in my report is that our life skills classroom over here at the junior high, those are all classified staff members that I named very specifically. They are some of the hardest working individuals I have ever been blessed to work with. And I think the 2 administrators, Debbie and Pete, can also attest to the impact they're making on each of those kids' lives. It's literal blood, sweat, and tears. And that's in every single building. And truly, I call our classified staff, which I did a quick count, and we're at about 60 classified special education staff with 20 teachers and 3 SLPs, all servicing a wide variety of needs. And without those instructional assistants, I don't know what we would do without them. Truly, they are the life and breath of special education, and they have the biggest impact when working with our kiddos. And I think all of us in here would attest to they are the boots on the ground, and we are so incredibly thankful for them.
You said SLPs, what's SLP?
I'm sorry, I spoke in an acronym. Speech language pathologist.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any other question? Nope, I asked
Thank
my
you,
question.
guys.
We're good.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
what you do. All right, moving on. We've got the high school principals report. That's going to be Mr. Rasmussen. Welcome.
Evening, folks. You have my report in front of you. I wanted just to highlight our upcoming next Wednesday. We have our senior exit interviews. It's a process we've been doing at Cascade High School for quite some time. And the seniors are getting antsy about that. I asked me today, Mr. Rest, what do I wear to my interview? So we talked about that in the hallway, and they're a little nervous. I said, don't wear what you're wearing. Upgrade a little bit. But anyway, it's a great experience for them. And we, in some respects, we've been a little bit ahead of the curve. The state has caught up, though, because the last couple of years, the state has put out some legislation. They've added a half-credit class to the Oregon diploma, which is called the College and Career Pathways credit. And so, at Cascade High School, we are trying to determine how our seniors are going to be earning that half credit. That needs to go in place for seniors graduating in 2024. And so, we have ultimately decided that we are going to do it credit by proficiency, which means we're going to have kids accomplish several tasks throughout high school, and we'll keep track of these tasks. We'll have rubrics for each of these events and tasks, and then we will assign them a credit once they've completed all of these. Some schools are doing it by class, just adding a class to their schedules. That takes FTE. If we were to do that, Mr. Drill's not going to give me another teacher to teach that class in a current stage of flat funding. I'd have to remove some electives from our current offerings. I'd have to take some classes away. So we looked at it, and currently the new program asks for 14 standards to be met by seniors to receive this credit. And we were looking at what we're currently doing at Cascade High School, and we're meeting about 6 of those already. By our process of the senior exit interview, some of the other things that our counselors are doing with kids. And so we thought, hey, I wonder if we can do some creative things to help kids achieve or show mastery in these other 8 standards that the state has identified. And so we'll be bringing you a formal draft next month to show you what that's going to look like. So hopefully you can vote on that and show that we're going to be offering a credit by proficiency for all graduating seniors in the class of 2027. We'll show that to Mrs. Thompson. She'll have some input on that as well, and that'll be for every kid at Cascade School District. We just felt that was a better way to address this issue going forward, and we already offer personal finance at Cascade High School, which was one of the additional state requests, but that was already part of our Cascade diploma. So we'll be adding that, and we'll have that prepared for you next month. Okay? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Were you finished?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So this proficiency that they need to do, there's 14 of them. Will it be their responsibility to get like a checklist or checked off or signature, or is it freshman through senior?
Yes, it will be. So we actually, in the days of Google Classroom, we currently have a Google Classroom for each grade. And currently our counselors have built a classroom for the class of 2027 already. And all the kids are in there, and some of the checkoff things that they're doing are already there. Like, we've talked to the student about their future plans. We have had this student apply for classes. And so we're going to put these tasks in there, and then different professionals across the building, different teachers, educators, will be responsible for evaluating these students' tasks. Some of them will be, hey, did they do it? It'll be participation-based 100%. For instance, we're looking at maybe some service credits for one standard, and we'll do some 3 hours of service credit, and it might be a school-sponsored service credit. We might take all the seniors to, I don't know, somewhere and do something. So we're going to bring some creative, I've got some great minds on this, and so I'm excited about the opportunities. We think it's going to be a great opportunity to do something a little bit different, and at the same time really meaningful, because ultimately that's where the senior exit interview has been. It's been a meaningful process. It's put kids in front of a panel of adults for the first time, many of them. Some of them have applied for jobs, but most of them haven't. And a lot of them are scared, and a lot of them are shy and unsure what to say, and so it's a great learning process for them. So if we can build a few other authentic and genuine activities for kids to do, I think we're just going to continue the process of making them prepared, which was what the state was designing all along when they added this credit. Other questions?
So, yeah, I want to expand on
Yeah.
what you just said. So, in your report here, the last sentence on the graduation rate for CHS, it says, preparing students for their next step in life after high school is what we do. So,
Absolutely.
I understand what we're doing. We have college credits for kids that are going on to college. People go into the diesel mechanic school, they go into the trade schools,
Yeah.
people go into the military. Let's assume I'm a student that's I'm done at graduation, I'm going out into the workforce. What, other than personal finance, what has Cascade done to prepare me to be successful in the world if I'm just going to go straight into the workforce out of high school?
Well, you've taken 4 years of English,
Okay.
and you've done a lot of writing, you've done a lot of reading.
Okay.
So you should be able to read lots of different technical manuals and pieces of nonfiction, so you can prepare for that. You should be able to communicate and speak clearly, because we do that in all of our senior social studies classes as well as English classes, where kids have to speak or collaborate and present, those kind of things. So those specific tasks, for sure. In addition to that, the senior exit interview process has been a great one for kids. And then we've offered multiple opportunities for kids to engage with other adults, with other programs, with experiences. I mean, we're called a comprehensive high school for a reason. And every kid's going to come out with something a little bit different by their choices that we give them through electives or college career paths or our CTE programs. Every kid's going to come up with something a little bit different, but ultimately they're going to experience some things that hopefully will prepare them for the next step.
Perfect. You answered my question. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if even the students that go straight into the workforce, if they apply themselves and take advantage of these opportunities, they're going to come out with a background that's going to help them succeed in that arena.
For
Now,
sure.
if they do nothing, then or the bare
It's on
minimum,
them.
let's say
It's on
that.
them.
You can't help that. But if they take advantage of what we're offering them, even the ones that go straight to the workforce will come out with some skills that will serve them.
Correct. If graduation is just a check-off list, it's just something to check off, then I'm not sure we're really
Right.
doing the kids service. If we are preparing kids for life, and in the meantime, we can still check off graduation, great. Okay, we've done that. But at the same time, we've really thought about the activities and the classes kids take and the experiences they've had to prepare them, because that's what it's about. We know that kids leave and it's a different world. I mean, you know, I just met with the seniors last week talking about, it's one of our first big senior meetings, talking about, okay, the end's coming, time to get serious. And when they hear they don't have to go to school the next fall, there's at first elation, but then all of a sudden they're like,
Now what?
I tell them, no one's going to tell you what to do when you leave. No one's going to tell you. You have to decide. And that, all of a sudden, you just kind of watch this glaze in their eyes, just like, oh. I mean, so it's some of them know exactly what they want to do. I mean, I could list out kids who are like, I'm ready, I know what I'm doing, I'm ready to get out of this place because I'm prepared, I'm ready to do it. Most of them are like, oh, now what? And in some ways, the world's a bigger, wider place than ever before. So we've got to do a better job, as good of a job as we can preparing them. Really.
But those kids that, again, are going straight into the workforce, they have
Absolutely.
the opportunities in
Absolutely.
front of them if they want to take advantage of
Absolutely,
them.
absolutely.
That's what I was
And-
looking for.
And I think this College Career Pathways credit is going to give us some more opportunities to even create more authentic and genuine activities for them. I
Right.
really do.
Dynamite. Okay. Any other questions?
No, it's great.
No? Thank you, Ms. Russ.
Thanks, Janice.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Junior high principals report, that's going to be Ms. Leday. Welcome.
It's a little tall. It's a lot tall, actually. Hello, good evening. You have my report. I think the junior high, I've kind of been thinking about, because it's been a while since I've been with you, and I think the junior high has just done a really good job of, focusing on three different things. Number one, we're working really hard. iReady scores that you have there are just a piece of what we're doing well. Students are writing essays up the yin-yang in English classes. We're reading novels. We have lit studies, socials, yeah.
What was that term?
Literature studies?
No, yin yang?
Yes, so,
Just so we're clear.
yes, technical term. Lots of work being done in the junior high. Kids are working hard. We're working on giving back because it's not just about us in junior high, because the students are very self-centered. So it's time to show them that there's more to, the world than just us. The food drive is a huge piece of us in the December. We supported, I don't know how many families, about 70 families. If the weather had cooperated a little bit better, we would have had a lot more walking through our doors, but instead we gave a bunch to the Amsville Food Bank, which was a great opportunity for us as well. Multiple families brought in lots of turkeys and hams. I think one family themselves brought in 40 different turkeys and hams, so it was impressive. They did want their classroom to win, so there was an ulterior motive, but it was still pretty impressive to see the wagonfuls of turkeys and hams walking through our doors. The grandparents luncheon, a 50-plus year, opportunity that we do for our families is great, and that's coming up next Friday. And then lastly, I didn't put in here, but we're really working on connecting to the world. And the next week, we're all focusing on the Winter Olympics, so the junior high is going to have their own version of Winter Olympic intramurals. The local Western Interiors donated us carpet squares, because we can't very well have rollerblades on, the gym floor, but we could have carpet squares. So we have speed skating, we have a torch run, we have all sorts of activities planned. And then sixth grade is, two of our classes are reading Peak. It's about a junior high boy who climbs Mount Everest with his family. And Tony Walisa, if anybody needs a connection to somebody, that's the woman. So Tony, do you know anybody who might have climbed Mount Everest? Sure enough, she gets us this guy who's a Sherpa, who is all excited. He's from Washington, and he's hoping to either come down or Google Skype us. And so I have two classrooms that are totally thrilled that they're going to get this opportunity. I've read the book myself when I taught sixth grade, so I'm like, I'm going to be in the back of the room listening too, because it's just such a cool opportunity. So I think, the junior high is really working to how can we, expand our horizons here. It's not just about us, but it's around the world. So do you have any questions?
Any questions? Yeah, I'll ask a
Okay.
question of you. So you have your iReady scores and your, where's that? In the diagnostic page. So how do we turn those diagnostic page into action? What does that look like? If you see something on there that's, we're not hitting the marks, what do we do with that information? I know I ask this all the time when we do all these testings. How do you turn that diagnostic page into action?
Part of it's, we haven't even taught the concept yet. So when they're taking in algebra concepts, it's like, well, my sixth graders haven't even touched on algebra yet. So that's a piece of the puzzle that we know. The bigger thing that my people look at is at the end of the year, okay, where did we miss the mark? Is there certain areas, and they can dive way down deeper into what was missed and how do we boost those scores so that next year's group come up even stronger than what they are right now. Because the beginning of the year, this is what you should be. They kind of test sixth graders, and we're going to score weak because we're not truly sixth graders yet, or
Right.
seventh graders. So it's a little bit of a disadvantage, but what I like seeing is that the kids are making growth. And the kids that, a lot of them that really struggle, and you can show that they made a 16-point gain halfway through the year, and you're hoping that they make that the whole year, that's big gains. And so they're moving along the pendulum. And the ones that we're missing, now what? Because we have a few that have gone backwards or that are at kindergarten level as a sixth grader, and they're not identified as special ed. Now what do we do? Maybe they're new to us. Do they have a reading disadvantage? Maybe they're not attending school very often. Now what do we do to support this kiddo and get him or her up and
You're
running?
telling me we've got sixth graders that are at a kindergarten level,
We've got a few, yeah.
and they've been in Cascade?
Not all of them, no.
Wow.
But yeah, we get some every year. We get somebody who's, new to us. Sometimes it's a homeschool kiddo. I had one 2 years ago, bless the mama's heart. She was like, we didn't teach math. Alrighty then, here we go. Yep.
Okay.
And the kiddo didn't know, she'd never seen multiplication, but when she was shown it, it was like, oh, I
Right.
can do this, but, she had a long ways to go, but they catch on. I had another one this year too, homeschooled sixth grader, and mom's like, I didn't do a very good job. That's okay, we'll figure it out. Thanks for letting us know, we got it.
Okay. Good to
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
Wonderful. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, any other questions? No.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, appreciate it. All right, Almsville Elementary Principals Report. It looks like we've got Ms. Mitchell and for Mr. Minzer. He's
Yeah.
not well, is that what I'm told?
Yes, Zach is really disappointed and sorry he's missing you
Oh,
all
sure he
tonight,
is.
but he is homesick, and so he asked for us to step in his place
Welcome.
and speak to you. So you have his report in front of you. One of the things we just wanted to make sure to highlight that we're particularly excited about, we have had some really good increase in our data in both our reading and math numbers, but one of the ones that stands out is that over our 3-year historical data, we've typically averaged a 1% increase from the beginning of the year assessments to the middle of the year assessments. And this year, we've grown 5% from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And then, sorry, I need to slow down. And then the other part of that is that usually in that 3-year historical data, the total year growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year is 7%. So we're already more than halfway to our 7%.
So if we normally see 1% and we're at 5% this year, did we do something different to drive that number, or was it just luck?
No, and it's not luck, and I don't think it's anything specifically different this year. I think it's a culmination over the last 3 years. We've just really really targeted our interventions a lot more closely. We've been really diving deeper into the data and putting kids in the appropriate groupings and providing them the support they need. And it just takes some time
Right.
for the data to sort of catch up with all that hard work. And so it's nothing
Okay.
specifically this year, it's just a culmination.
But it's changes over the last few years that have got us to here.
Yes.
Okay, so it is directly because of the changes
Of the changes we've made,
not-
yes,
it's
but
not
nothing
just
specific
luck.
this year, but over the last 3 years, yes.
But, okay, no, that's fair, thank you.
And the kids are also getting used to the math curriculum that was
Yes.
new several years ago, and all our AVID strategies that are, boiling up through the grades. All of it is coming together.
So all the pieces are coming in?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Nice.
Okay.
Do you think it'll be higher than 7%?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, sounding like it.
Yeah.
And we also have a copy of our latest edition of the Panther paper.
All done by students.
All completely, we've been, I was recently interviewed by 3 different students for 3 different articles, so for the next
Oh, that's so
edition.
cute.
Nice.
We'll see how
I
that
love
goes.
this.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And the last thing on the report, we have our Valentine luncheon coming up, similar to the junior high one. We have families come for Valentine's Day every year, and they get to eat lunch with their students, and they love it, and then they get to go out and play recess with them. They look forward to it every year. Our kids look forward to it. Everybody dresses up. And you guys are welcome to join us if you would like.
When is the bike? When's the bike?
Oh, you want to do the bike rodeo? That'll be closer to the spring, like
Okay.
May.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask one more question back on these scores. So when we find something in some, like these iReady scores, how fast can you pivot and change the curriculum based on what we're learning from these scores?
Pretty fast.
Yeah.
Does that mean a year, a day?
Their teams meet regularly to review the data and adjust the intervention group. So that our teachers are meeting weekly to review data.
Okay.
And so they can make a change from one day to the next if they need to.
So it truly is pretty quick on, if they're seeing an issue, it's not something where we wait months before we.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it kind of depends on what the
Sure.
specific need is, but yeah, we can
Okay.
make certain changes quickly.
Nice, wonderful. Thank you both for
Okay.
taking
Thank
Ms.
you.
Schmitzer's place. Any other questions?
Report.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, on to, hang on, it won't click. I'm having IT problems.
That's my fault.
Exactly, welcome.
Timing.
Good evening. I wanted to take a second and just thank you guys for your energy, your time, your commitment, the questions you ask, the things you do to help us provide the best education we can
I got
for
questions for
students.
you too.
I'm excited for those questions. But I do appreciate it. You guys are a great board, and I appreciate working with you. You should have my report in front of you. I don't have a lot to add to it. This is the time of the year that we're keeping the lights on, making sure things are running. We have a lot of security audits and stuff coming during the summer, a lot of summer projects, but for this year, we're kind of just keeping things maintained and planning for the summer. So, any questions?
So first is the phones. You said one of the things you want to change is the phone systems.
Mm-hmm.
Are we currently on dial-up phones, or are we on?
No, we're
IP
on
phones?
IP phones.
Okay.
The thing is, our MyTel ShoreTel system that was implemented, I think it was just over a decade ago, is no longer supported as of 2028.
Right.
So we could kick the can and wait, but I set aside budget for this year, and I want to do it this year to make sure it's done, especially frankly with the uncertainty in the economy, in the state legislature. Who knows what next year looks like or the year after? If I have it now, I need to do it now because I don't want to get in a position where, okay, it's 2028, we have to do this because it's end of life, end of support, we can't get updates for it, we can't get help with it, and we're stuck.
Are we talking for this phone system, are you talking software or just hardware, like phones, physical
Both.
phones?
So we're replacing the physical phones. There are phone switches, which are devices that when you plug the IP phone into, it connects and it connects to a phone switch, which connects to the server. So all that phone traffic relays from the phone to the switch to the server. We have to replace the switches because those are 10 years old, and the server runs a certain operating system and has a certain application on it that we have to upgrade as well. So we have to replace everything.
But we have to have a hard physical phone in a classroom.
Yes.
We can't do it off of just, everything's forwarded to cell phones.
No, and they also have to have the ability, Alyssa's law, and right, for us to be able to call 911, we have to be able to call emergency services in the classroom. So
And you couldn't do that off a cell phone?
maybe it'll be a lot more expensive. I mean, you're talking, we're paying about $40 per phone right now,
Right,
and we have 350 phones across the district.
okay.
So that-
And I'm asking, in my work, we're getting rid of all of our phones and it's all just going to the computer and you can either talk on a headset or it forwards to the cell phone. So I'm just curious.
And that's one of the actually really cool things with our new system. We will have that feature, which we're excited for the nurses, for the people that travel across buildings.
Right.
They won't be tethered to their phone anymore.
Right.
They can check their voicemail on their computer. They can call somebody from their computer,
Right.
even if they're not at their desk.
Right,
So
okay.
we're adding some of those features. But no, I just don't think it's feasible. It's also a kid's going to grab a phone and hide it or take it with them or call their parent on the side. I think having a physical desk phone is still the most
No, that's
secure
fair.
and safest
That's
way to
fair.
do it.
Yeah. So my other question is, does the school use AI? I'm not asking the students using AI, I'm asking if the teachers, or are we using it on the administration side?
Yes, so we went forward with Gemini and Notebook LM this year. We had Mr. Dyer and myself, we had a board, a committee that went together and developed a plan and some framework on how we're going to use it. I can't attest necessarily to how much it's being used or how it's being used. I provide the technology, right? So we said we're allowing Gemini because it's within the Google Workspace domain. All of our privacy agreements are met, and Google tells us in very nice words that they're going to protect that data. If a teacher accidentally puts personal information into the system, they're not going to take that and use it in the language model. So we're a little bit safer in that area, which is why we went with that platform.
So I guess maybe I'm a little lost. Give me for example on how we're putting AI to work at the school level.
I would say that'd be more of a curriculum question.
Okay.
Again, I provide the technology.
Mr.
They have
Rasmussen.
access to Gemini. They have access to these tools.
How are we using AI right now in the classroom? And I'm not talking the students using it to write their reports. I'm talking, how are you using it?
Mr. Rasmussen.
Here, you can use mine.
I'm the wrong guy to answer this question.
Mr. Dyer's your guy.
Then Mr. Dyer, get up there with him.
Come here, Mr. Dyer.
Get up there.
Nice got a whole committee.
This administrator is not using AI in any shape or form except to ask the random occasional question that it comes up with. But A few staff and teachers are using it to create some goals and some plans. They'll say, create me a goal or plan based upon this standard, and it'll come up with something, and it's a good jumping off point. It's like, oh, that's interesting, those are good ideas, and so I know that's happening. Some people are using it to help them develop spreadsheets from sets of data, those kind of things, but we're still pretty novice at this, at least a lot of us are.
I use it frequently. I do. I'm not going to say that I don't. And I think the more you scratch, the more you can dive into it. So, an example of the high school, we just had Mr. Medlock. He just sent me a PowerPoint presentation that he did just on his psychology class. And he put in information, and it spit out a really cool slide deck for him to be able to use. And so that probably saved him probably 30 minutes to an hour. Just this is the information I want to give my students, put it into a slide deck, and it did that for him. So prepping and different things like that. There's some teachers, there is platforms where you can actually, they will grade papers, and so like you can put the paper in, it will actually spit it and put it up against the rubric that you put in also as well. Last week, I just discovered this one is called Notebook, which is attached to Gemini. And so like for like Senate Bill 141, it's the new accountability from the state. It's basically how we're being held accountable by the state. You can put everything in that you want, all the information that you want to learn about. And I put all this information in, so documents, websites, legislation, and I said, create me a podcast for this. And so it created me a 15-minute podcast, and it broke down everything I needed to know, the back history, where it's going, what do we need to do, what do we need to prepare for, and it sounds like a podcast, like two people talking in a coffee shop type of video. And it's just an easier way to disseminate. So then if I'm working out, I'm running, I just listen to that, and I know what's kind of going on with Senate Bill. Or different things like that. There's different things with SPED. We have, again, you never want to take the first rendition of what AI gives you. And so that's where we always, but again, like we can always like put in goals for IEPs, help write up reports or different things like that. And it writes them out for you, and you can go through and it creates a framework and a starting point for that. So, I mean, for me, if I was teaching or even where I'm at now, you're talking it's saving hours upon hours of time doing reports and stuff like that.
And can anyone use AI? Do we have to be approved on some way, or is there some training, or anybody can just log into this Gemini system and away they go?
Yeah, so it's already in the Google. So if you have the Google Suite, we call it the waffle up on top. Everybody has that attached to their thing. We did some PD over it in the wintertime in December, and we had somebody come in from the ESD to train our elementary teachers, and that was a breakout. Very, very popular with the teachers. And again, it's lesson planning. It's just slide decks, presentations, different things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's actually one teacher that actually created a song about the salmon run. It's really cool, like in 4th grade. And they like, create me a cool jingle song about salmon run. And they did it, and the kids learned it. And it was like this unique, awesome new song about salmon.
Okay.
It's pretty neat.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And if you ever want to know more about it, come talk to me, because there is a lot of different ways that people are utilizing it.
Right. Okay. Good.
And thank you for that, because I don't work with teachers directly a ton, and
Right.
I give them tools, and what they do with them is their
Right. Understood. Yeah.
prerogative, so.
Okay. No, that's fair. All
Any
right.
other questions?
Any other questions? No.
Thank
you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Moving on. We've got 5A school calendar. Mr. Drill.
So before you have a school calendar for the 26-27 school year. There also shows the parent calendar as well. One shows, how the staff will deal with the calendar. The other is what parents would have in front of them. We always put out a couple of different options. We're required by our contract to run the calendar past our certified staff. We also, I believe this time, I wasn't here, so I believe Jay also shared it with classified as well. A little bit of a mix-up. We generally share it with our administrators too, but that took a little longer this time. So we were able to finally get it out to them and go from there. The reality is we have so many days, there's so many weeks, you got to go through a process. The trick this year for this upcoming fall is that Labor Day is late. So once in about every 5 or 6 years, we advocate, like we are tonight, starting a week before Labor Day, so that we can be done like June 10th. If we have a lot of snow days, we'll have to add extra days, and the calendar that we considered going after Labor Day would have put our ending date like the 18th of June, and then if we had to add extra days, we would have been to the low 20s in June. That's not healthy. When you hit June and after Memorial Day, people want to be done. And so just take me at the experience of doing this for a long time. So we asked the teachers in typical fashion, nothing against them, like about 55, 57% really like the before Labor Day. The other 42, 43% like the after Labor Day. Everybody has a personal reason why. Had we had a normal calendar, they would have kind of been in the same boat. You know, it's a tough decision for them. So this is the one we went with the higher percentage, and this is the one that we're talking about. We would like for you to approve the one starting before Labor Day this year. Get it out there so parents are ready, families are ready, and our staff are ready to go.
Right.
Questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
5B, bond proposal presentation for Marion County May 2026 election. Greg.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to see if this is going to work. I'll push the right button and it will. I'm actually really excited tonight, after a lot of work, to get to ask you to vote to approve placing a bond on the May 26th ballot. And so what I want to do tonight is just walk through the process that we've been to get to this place, let you know what's in there, and then have time for any questions that you have. The process of the last 18 months that's led to this proposal, we started by hiring BB&L Architects, WRK Engineering, and RNC Management to lead us through this and to do it right. And so our first step was to do a facilities assessment process. What that means is that architects and engineers literally walked through and examined every part of every building in the district. And they did this to incredible detail. The painting on the walls, the electrical, the plumbing, the floors, the roofs, the rafters, everything. And then they made a condition of, like, you know, as new and functional all the way down to needs replacing. And they made a mark for every single one of those things across the district. This is the front page of their final report, which we got in October. You can find it on our district website on the facilities tab. There are 237 pages of details here, but I'm doing us all a favor and not working through all those pages tonight. I am going to show you the Facilities Condition Index, which is in this report, and it's kind of a summary of what they found in all those things. It's a good way to boil down all that detail. What this is doing is the engineers and the architects look at all that, and they estimate the cost of all the repairs to return the building to a completely functional condition like it was when it was new. So this wouldn't remodel it. This would just be like getting what we have back to kind of a like new condition. They figure out what that cost would be, and then they calculate what that repair cost is as a percentage of replacing the building with a new one as a whole. And when they kind of do this in all these districts, what they basically say is the higher the percentage, the worse condition that building is in, obviously. And anything where the repair cost is more than 30% of building new, that's labeled as critical. No surprise to any of us, the 3-5 building at Onsville is the one that is most in need of work. It has a 59% FCI. Another building that reaches that critical level is the Marion School. It would actually take a lot of work to get that to a functional place, and even then it is a smaller school than we would like for one of our schools, and it's not located in the area where our students are in the district. The main building at the high school, as well as the Opportunity Center, they also reach that critical level, and the main building at Cloverdale is very close. And so this kind of just gives you the one-sheet summary. You can look at it in more detail, like I said, on the website if you want to look at all those numbers. But what this did is it gave us the hard data of where our biggest needs are for our buildings in the district. So what we did then is we convened a long-range facilities planning committee, and that was over 30 community and staff members. We met 6 times over 8 months starting last March. We toured the buildings, we poured over all those facility reports, we looked at population and enrollment projections, and we heard from staff about needs. And where that got us to in May was we were able to identify as a committee that there is a lot of need in this district. In fact, over $100 million in building needs. And one of the big things at that point, was as we were looking at one of the needs, and as a part of that $100 million, would be to construct a new school for grades 5 and 6 on the main campus, and designing it in a way that it could be expanded at a later date to include 4th grade. And we got down here in all of these details, what are the most important repair, renovation, and expansion needs for our district? So we were at over $100 million. Is that feasible? We did a couple of rounds of polling to kind of check that out and see if that would be feasible. And what we found is that there is a huge recognition that people have uncertainty about the economy, and it makes a bond of this size almost impossible to pass in our district. Everybody who is close to our schools, they know how much need there is, but the reality is that almost 70% of voters don't have a current connection with our schools. And they are concerned about their own economic outlook, and increasing taxes right now is very unpopular. So what I'm going to show you from the polling is really just this slide right here, because what the experts who do polling can do is they can boil it down and say, what is it that makes voters most willing to say yes, according to polling? And what they found in our district is it's the basics. It's update and improve heating and cooling, conduct critical repairs on aging roofing, flooring, siding, and interior finishes, make things energy efficient with lighting, windows, and insulation to efficiently use taxpayer dollars. And so when we kind of took all those results in with the Long Range Facilities Planning Group, we realized we needed to scale back our ask of the community and to choose the things that voters favored the most according to this slide. So the basics of taking good care of our facilities. So to just be really clear, we recognize our many needs in the district. We have them identified, we have them prioritized for the future, and it is really good that we've gone through this process, and that will help us as we move forward. But where it gets us to tonight is that we are asking the board to put a bond on the ballot that's expected to maintain the current tax rate of $1.09 per 1,000 of assessed value, not the real market value, but the assessed value. And the reason that taxes will stay the same is the bond that was passed in 2006 will be paid off this year. And so adding on a new bond at that same level just replaces that and does not result in an increase to taxes. If that bond were to pass at that level, that would that would raise $30 million for us to do critical repairs. And we already know that if it does pass, we are approved to receive a bonus $10.2 million from the Awesome Grant. And that's a state grant that would go somewhere else in the state if our bond doesn't pass. So if the bond passes, what would happen in the course of that? We can do all of the identified roofing repairs and replacements in the district. All of them that are identified in the facility assessment. We can do all of the identified heating and cooling, HVAC needs across the whole district. It would budget $2.5 million for floors, ceilings, walls, bathrooms, other refreshes across the buildings of our district, as well as septic and other needed infrastructure improvements here on the main campus. There will be money if the bond passes to improve safety with things like doors and fences and badges and different things that we need to increase that safety. It'll increase access with ramps and elevator lifts at the Opportunity Center and at Turner Elementary. It will give major repairs and improvements to the 3-5 building at Almsville. So not only a new roof, but some major renovations to make that a much more livable place for our students and staff. If passed, the bond would build new cafeterias and kitchens at Turner and at Cloverdale, where they're hugely overcrowded, and we will get important renovations for our PE needs. So those are the things kind of above the gray line at the bottom that we will do for sure if the bond passes. If we are able to achieve some cost savings compared to what we have budgeted on those above line projects, we've also listed kind of below the line there at the bottom the kind of key things that we would like to be able to do if we have the funding for it. And those could be decided upon after we've done all the things above based on both need and also cost. You know, if we've saved $1 million, then obviously we can't do a $5 million new gym, but we might be able to do some of the other things. So that's kind of the process that we're trying to do that both makes sure that we can deliver what we promise to voters, but also gives us clarity that we can also do these other things if we're able to experience savings on that. So coming kind of the bottom line of this, we all know that there's a lot more need, but this seems to be the best way forward to address our most critical needs and to respect where voters are with the economy right now. And doing this and demonstrating that we can do that well is going to increase our chances of passing another bond down the road to address some of our other identified needs. So that's sort of where we are in the process, and I'm welcome to take any questions that you might have, because obviously there's a lot more there, but I just wanted to kind of hit the most important things in the process.
You said we already got the approval for the 10 million from the state?
We did.
How does that work? Because I thought that came after you applied, but you didn't know. So I'm confused that we already know the answer to that.
Yeah. It may have been that way in the past. The way it's been over the last couple of years is if you are going in November, you apply by July 15th. If you're going in May, you apply by December 15th, the one before. So William did that work for us in December to apply, here's what we're trying to do with the bond, here's the places that we're doing it, and then they give us a letter that I have a copy of in my office that says, you are approved and good to go. So it gives confidence for districts as they're moving forward to know what they can expect if they do pass the bond.
I mean, that's nice. $10 million.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a huge, it's a quarter of what the other thing is, like right off the bat. So it's really helpful.
And then my other question was on the roof at the 3-5 building. I know it's been reworked multiple times, but still leaks. Has there been a plan that's going to rework it so it won't leak this time?
Yes. Yes.
Because they haven't figured that part out yet.
Newsflash, I am not a construction person, but one of the reasons we hired all of these folks is to be able to look at that and figure out how much money do we need to allocate to that to make sure that we can do it right. And so the professionals are telling us, yes, we can do this right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's the plan? How are we going to connect with this community?
Yeah. We've already been doing a lot of work. So here's where we are. From the district point of view, by state law, we can inform, but we cannot advocate. In other words, we can give all the information about what our bond is going to do, but we cannot say, vote yes on this. So from the district point of view, we have stuff already lined up that we've been working on for months on the informational side. If you do vote to approve this, we have a website ready to go tomorrow that has, here's all the information on what's going on. We have drafts of 3 mailings that we will send to everybody in the district that will explain what's going on and the needs that are there and what we're doing with that process. We've been working with members of the community to form a political action committee because they can say, please do vote yes on this. And so those folks are already doing some good work, ramping up for that and doing things like, where do we have a lot of people already gathered? Well, when Little League starts, we got a lot of people on the field. So we're going to have people out there meeting folks and sharing information. The car show that comes in the different places that are going on. Turner and Almsville, there's not a lot of, some districts, there's like a Kiwanis or a Rotary or things. There's not a lot of public events that happen, but the ones that are happening, we're going to get to with people from the district to inform them. And I've also been working on building relationships with folks in the community. The administrator for Turner Retirement Homes was on our long-range facility plan, so I've been talking with him about meeting with their residents to be able to tell them what's going on and why this is important. So, those are some of the things that we have in mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a long time ago, and it's probably not even legal, but
Yeah.
we as a staff we didn't have a choice. We would meet down at a bank, and there would be a list that the school would have, and it would show all the people who hadn't voted yet.
Mhm.
It didn't show how
Yeah.
they voted in past elections or
Yeah.
anything. So we would have
Yeah.
the number, and then we would call to remind them to
Yep.
vote and encourage it to be a yes.
Yep.
Now,
Here-
can something be sent out to the people that we know? Because sometimes the ballots are just sitting on their counter.
Sure.
They mean well, it would be
Sure.
a yes, they just don't get around to. What can we do with that?
That is something the political action committee can do a lot of. As a
Okay.
district, the way that state law is now, we can't require staff to do anything like that. We can't organize anything like that ourselves. But staff members are able to advocate in times that they are not at school and they are not in the role of their position. So we will be getting out to all of our staff members, here's what you can and can't do. And if the Political Action Committee or others in the community want to do something like you described, they would be welcome to do that in off
Do they have
hours.
access to a list of people that have not turned their votes in yet?
That can be purchased, so that was something the Political
Okay.
Action Committee would have to raise money to be able to do. It's called MAPS or something like that. It's something that,
Yeah.
that you can get, or VAN,
Just a
that's what it's
little
called, VAN.
reminder, or
Yeah.
even just a voicemail thing sent out or
Yep.
something, just reminding people to get their ballots. in,
Yep,
just to make sure.
absolutely.
Good job, you've done a great job
Yeah,
on
thanks for the
this.
hard work.
Sure.
I just have one question.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the development budget, what is that?
Yes.
30%, what is that, like, almost $9.2 million, what does that entail? What is that?
You bet. Okay, so we'll talk about costs and what this is, the difference between estimates and budgeting. This is a budget, this is not an estimate. So this is primarily what we hired RNC Management to be able to do for us. And the first thing that he did is, with our long-range facility group, was to remind us that there is such huge sticker shock when it comes to building for schools because there are higher legal requirements for what must be built in your home. There are things like prevailing wage that must be paid. So all of that has to be taken into account. And everybody's like, well, I could build a gym for, whatever. Well, you can't do that. So that's why we hire the people to do that. He has not gone through and priced out every HVAC system and come up with this number. What he's done is he's looked at other things, other districts for comparable things, and budgeted an amount of money that covers prevailing wage and covers inflation that would become. Because even if this bond passes in May, it's going to take until fall or winter to actually fund it when the district would actually have money. And realistically, a lot of our work's going to be done in the summers following. So you have to build in room for inflation. So all of that goes in the top line number. Development budget, that is there to cover a whole raft of things. That covers design work by engineers, that covers permit work, that covers oopses and surprises when you're digging in a sewer system and you find things you didn't know were there. And that, again, is just all that is, as he's prepared that for us, is a percentage of the stuff that's up above.
Got it.
And what he told us is, he says lean 30%. His normal for that is to do 38%, but he did 30% on this one because we had other members in our group, Tom Lovell, who's like, we can do it for better than that. And so, and we hope that Tom is right. But we also want to have the experts who have done this work so that we make sure we deliver what we are promising to voters. So that's why we're using their numbers even when some of our folks are kind of doing back of the napkin, well, we can do better than this. Well, hopefully we can. And if so, then we have other projects we will do.
Okay.
So Spencer, 20 years ago, right, when they built the new gym area over there, we got done, and as the principal, I started to watch that go up, and one day everybody stopped. There was this long conversation. I happened to walk out, and Tom was animated. They were having conversations with the builder. And what they've come to figure out was, as they got ready to build the gym part, they recognized that the slope from where the auditorium is to the gym was much deeper, the percentage was higher than what they had expected. So they had all these people get together and have a conversation, and really it came in 2004 or 5, there was this conversation like, that slope's going to cost $965,000 to fix. And everybody stood around and had this long conversation about how they're going to do that. That's not in the budget. It's not even in the development budget, blah, 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 blah. And then Tom and a couple guys were like, well, what if from the foyer down to the gym there was this slight slope? And it got quiet. And they all looked around and said, could that work? And so instead of 900 and some odd thousand, it was about $48,000 to make the slope work. So when you walk down the slope, when I walk down the slope, I think of this is $1 million slope. That's the development budget, and they were able to save that kind of money. So that's just kind of the piece that they play out when you walk in there. And people walk down all the time, they don't think twice about it, but it just happened to be a little lower. And it wasn't something that they saw initially.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, as far as staff and employees not being able to advocate or district, That doesn't hold true for us. We can get out and shout and holler as much as we want,
Absolutely.
right? And
Yep.
let people know and
Yep.
and hopefully be a part of these events that are happening.
Yep.
And do that. So,
Yes, yes,
awesome.
indeed.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nice. Perfect. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, on to informational items. Statement of economic interest. Mr. Drill.
So I believe that this is back on there because a couple people haven't finished their statement of economic interest? Okay, opens in March? Yes, so the conversation we've had about you guys making sure to do the statement of economic interest will come open. I need to do it, you guys need to do it. That's part of the reality for the fall, for this upcoming year.
Perfect.
Just a reminder.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Yep.
6B, board member resignation and Zone 2 position vacancy. Mr. Drill.
You received a resignation letter regrettably from John Ramey. I'm leaving the board, so wanted to get you guys that, and so you can begin to prepare for going out and looking for a new board member. In the past, you guys have set a time, usually a month or 2 months or 3 months going forward to set up a time, ask the district office to ask for people in the community to finish out John's term. You guys have done that by doing interviews and then closed door, and then having a selection. I would assume you guys would like to do the same thing again.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a date? So you have March, April, or May to kind of work on that. I would suggest that March might be a little quick, but April makes good sense, and that you could seat somebody at the May board meeting. That might
I would
work.
agree with that timeline, April and May.
Okay. We can work on that.
Wonderful.
I would think so, but we can talk about how to make that work.
Yeah.
You don't want to post
But
it for
interview
too
in
long,
April,
people will
yes.
forget. Yeah.
Yes,
We
right,
can do the interview in
right.
April. Okay.
Okay. All right, good. Any other questions on that here? Nope. All right, thank you, Mr. Drill.
Absolutely.
Next is public comment. We've got no public comment today, so I'll move on to resolution. All right, resolution 8A, resolution regarding out-of-state trip requests.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the request from the high school choir director to travel to Seattle, Washington for a workshop at the University of Washington from February 26th, 2026 to February 27th, 2026.
Second.
8A, resolution regarding out-of-state trip request has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 8B, resolution regarding 26-27 school calendar.
Be it resolved, the Cascade Board of Education moves to approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as presented.
Second.
8B, resolution regarding 26-27 school calendar has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just one question for Mr. Drill. This is the calendar you recommend after the discussions?
Yes, sir.
I think I heard you say that. I just wanted to double check.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
Yep.
All right, dynamite. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 8C, resolution of Cascade School District Number 5 calling a measure election for general obligation bonds.
You want me to read all that whole thing? No, we're not doing that.
It's only 2 pages.
Yeah,
As follows.
yeah. Now I got all sidetracked. I move to resolution for the measure for the general election bond as written below in the proposed motion.
Second.
8C, resolution of Cascade School District Number 5 calling a measure election for general obligation bonds has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And that's it, just the 3?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right. Any future agenda items we need to discuss at
No,
this time?
I think that, we've talked about it earlier. There's my evaluation that you guys need to wrap up. There is the opening of your school board position. That sounds like you've already got it taken care of. And then come May, we will have the budget committee meeting like we normally do. That usually is set before your regular board meeting. So
Okay.
busy spring, for sure.
Yes.
I like it. Sounds good.
Okay?
Okay. Anything else from the board?
So,
Maybe?
we didn't approve the bond, right? Or
No,
did
we just did. That's what we
That's
did.
That's what we did. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what Spencer
the one I
cheated
so
on.
eloquently did.
Yeah, he
Okay.
cheated on that.
Just making sure.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you
That's what I
voted
did.
on it. You said yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? We're good? All right. That's it, everybody. Meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming all. Appreciate it.